Erling Haaland is a prolific striker who scores a lot of goals, but his general play is not all that good. This seems to be the narrative when it comes to Haaland, but this is simply not true. In this video I will dissect Haaland, his stats, his contributions to City on and off the ball, his general play, and comparing him to other players this season, primarily Ollie Watkins. Where else to start but on common ground? Erling Haaland has scored 38 goals across 43 appearances. He averages a goal per 91 minutes played, almost a goal per game. Not only that, but his range of goals is outstanding, ranging from tap-ins to impossible headers to perfect penalties and out-of-the-box beauties. He can do all of it. Even in his off-season, interrupted by injury, Haaland remains the most prolific striker in world football. But the problem people have with Haaland is not in his finishing, but rather in something else. The greatest lie to circulate in modern football is the idea that Haaland is a poor passer. When comparing Haaland to Ollie Watkins, a striker many pretend has had a better individual season, we can debunk this myth. In 28 starts and 2 substitute appearances in the Premier League this season, Haaland has provided 5 assists. He averages an average of 1 key pass per game. This is more than Ivan Toney, who is considered an all-round striker, as well as than Darwin Núñez, who is considered a terrific passer. It is only 0.3 short than Ollie Watkins, despite the fact that Aston Villa encounter far less low blocks than City, and that Watkins has more positional freedom. Watkins admittedly averages more passes per game, but Haaland has a higher passing accuracy. It is furthermore not Haaland's fault that he averages less passes per game, as Pep specifically wants Haaland to play high up the pitch and not involve himself too much with build-up play. And despite all of this, Haaland still creates 0.2 big chances per game, only 0.1 less than Ollie Watkins. To summarize this chapter, Haaland has put up comparable passing statistics to strikers who are considered to be elite this season, while being considerably less involved in build-up play. There is also a myth that Haaland is a poor dribbler, and this is not easier to disprove. Let us first discuss where this myth originates from, however. As previously discussed, Haaland is told by Pep Guardiola to not involve himself too much in build-up play. This leads to Haaland to attempt significantly less dribbles. This can be seen in the stats as well. While Haaland has 0.4 dribbles per game, Watkins has nearly double that amount. This does not mean that Watkins is a superior dribbler, however. Watkins is dispossessed 3 times more than Haaland on a game average. Even if we take into account that Watkins dribbles nearly twice as much, this means that Haaland is dispossessed 0.7 times less per dribble on average. This also doesn't get better for Watkins when you see that Haaland dribbles as much for Norway as Watkins does for Villa, but he is dispossessed 8 times less on a game average. A final thing I want to touch upon in this chapter is poor first touches. For both City and Norway, Haaland averages 1.3 poor touches per game. This is half the amount for Ollie Watkins. Haaland is tall and muscular, so he does not look majestic when he dribbles, but he is damn effective at it. As you can see, this chapter breaks down the other skills in which Haaland is so supreme, and that they are not worth their own chapter. Hold-up play is crucial for Haaland. He wins the majority of his aerial duels, holds onto the ball well, and is, as previously mentioned, rarely dispossessed of the ball. Haaland is not the only striker in the world who can hold onto a ball well. This is merely a necessary ability for tall and muscular strikers to have. Even still, Haaland definitely does this very well. Off the ball, Haaland might just be the most effective player in the world. Haaland effectively pushes defenses back, so much so that they are forced to concede space to City's midfield, allowing De Bruyne, Foden and Rodri to freely dictate play. This has led to many goals for Manchester City, such as Foden's goal at the Bernabeu. Haaland's positional play is also supreme. He has caught offside less than 0.1 times on a game average, and he often finds himself in favourable positions to receive the ball and then score. In conclusion of this chapter, Haaland is capable of all the less appreciated but equally important skills of football that a striker needs. When comparing him to Watkins for this season, they seem similarly competent in holder play, though Haaland finds himself offside far less and tends to get into better positions, and he is infinitely more effective off the ball. Haaland is the best finisher in the Premier League this season. He has good passing stats despite his greater build-up involvement, is a competent dribbler, albeit not on the level of players like Phil Foden. His holder play is world class, and his off-the-ball involvement is instrumental. When we compare Haaland to Watkins for merely this season, Haaland is either equal to or superior in all metrics, especially in finishing. So why do people think that Watkins is having the better season? There are two reasons for that. Firstly, the standards and expectations on Haaland are much higher than on Watkins. So when Haaland has an off season and Watkins has a good season, people praise Watkins for things that Haaland would be considered underachieving for. The second reason is Haaland's injury. Before his injury, he was terrific as usual. Post-injury, however, Haaland scored 4 times in 9 appearances, certainly not poor for lesser strikers as Watkins, who at one point reported 4 goals in 12 appearances, but for Haaland it was a disaster. However, after being allowed to rest against Aston Villa, Haaland came back rejuvenated, scoring 9 goals in 6 games and reminding everyone that he is king. Hello, thank you for watching my video all the way to the end. I would like to ask you to like and subscribe, it really helps out the channel, but also to leave down a comment down below and tell me what you think. As you can see in this video, I explain why I think Haaland is still the best striker on just purely this season in the Premier League. Now, I don't think he is the best player in the Premier League. I think Phil Foden has been better this season, and I think that other players such as Harry Kane at the moment is the better striker. I think that Kylian Mbappe, if you want to consider him a striker, I know many people consider him a winger, but if you consider him a striker, I would include him as better than Haaland. But I find it very unfair when people compare Haaland and Ollie Watkins, as has often been the case this season, and they put this super high standard on Haaland, and then they just say Watkins has been better this season. When if Haaland put up the stats that Ollie Watkins did, people would be saying that he needs to get sold. And this is true, because Haaland with better stats than Ollie Watkins, people have been saying sell Haaland. And I know football is not just stats, but Haaland provides so much more than Ollie Watkins does off the ball. He provides more than Ollie Watkins in general, and people just seem to think Ollie Watkins is better because he is more visually appealing. This is not true. If Ollie Watkins was so good, Pep Guardiola would have signed him, not Haaland. There is a reason why Pep wanted Haaland. It is because Ollie Watkins is an average striker who is having a good season and is still not coming close to Haaland's worst season to date, qua numbers. There are levels to this, and I very much dislike the idea of someone saying that Ollie Watkins, in a season where he has 32 GA playing against far less low blocks than Manchester City, is somehow the better striker, with far more appearances by the way, is somehow the better striker than Haaland, who has the same amount of GA, far less appearances, plus an injury mid-season, which after the injury, by the way, we started him too soon and he wasn't able to get into the game. If we let him rest, and I genuinely believe this, if we let him rest for 2 games more, he would have come back and started scoring immediately. We brought him back into the game too soon. That is what I believe. Haaland is still superior. There are better strikers out there in the world. As I said, Harry Kane and Kylian Mbappe, if you believe he is a striker, are in my opinion superior. But there is not a single striker in the Premier League, even if you remove goals like GA entirely, if you remove all GA and just look at non-GA contributions to the team, Haaland is still the best striker in the Premier League. The idea that he is not is entirely perpetrated by English media, which just likes to create sensationalism. And there's a very good quote that I'll end this video on, and it comes from a Belgian, or well, Flemish should I say, commentator, who was talking about Erling Haaland during a game. And he said, of course, translated from Flemish to English, English media is very nuanced, creativity and honesty goes to die. I would not worry about what their pundits have to say about me if I was Erling Haaland. Now, obviously I'm paraphrasing, but that's what he said. That's what I'll end the video on. Thank you for watching this video. I'll end it here, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.